All right, what up, guys? We got a interesting show for you today. Part scary, part interesting, I guess. We're going to talk about the Jack Demo case. So let's lay out a little background. So if you're not familiar who Jack Demo is, he's a popular YouTuber. He initially started off by doing prank videos, but last 4 or 5 years he got into more into pickup and self development. And I actually think he had some legit game. I mean, he still does, I guess. Uh, so yeah, so I think he was like one of the legit guys. He wasn't like a hardcore pickup guy, so he would talk about it more from like a. I think he's more of like a natural. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't know much about him before this case. So I've done a lot of reading on the case itself, but before that, I've seen like some of his prank videos, some of his, I guess, just like drunk chatting to girls videos. And I agree, like he comes off as like a party guy, like just very social, pretty like confident. But yeah, I don't know much outside of him other than like those videos I've seen.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. He was on my channel a while ago. We did a podcast like two and a half, 3 years ago, and I think we basically agreed on everything. So it wasn't like
Okay.
disagreements. Yeah, he just doesn't really. He's kind of like I would say he's like kind of like a natural. But anyway, so he got into some legal shit. You want to start? I think you're a little bit more research on this, Marcus, since you read the case files, and I just did the lazy thing, which is watch the video. So if you guys want to see the full video, Jack Dembo has a video on his TikTok and on his Instagram. It's about an hour long, so we're going to summarize it for you. So yeah, you want to take a crack at it first, Marcus, and I'll just fill in.
Yeah, sure. I guess. So when I first saw his video, it's maybe like an hour long. There's probably shorter clips of it out there. But when I first saw this, I was like, this is fucked up. I'm like, holy shit. Some guy in Canada with their new fucking laws got falsely accused of sexual assault. And now this guy is about to face 3 years in prison. And it sounds like this girl kind of made all this shit up. It sounds like she was pressured by her family. It sounds like there's inconsistencies in her stories. It sounds like this girl probably has like anxiety and depressive disorder. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was scary. I'm going to be honest. Like, as someone that coaches a lot of men that are out there, like fucking girls, right? This was like, dude, it felt like there's no other evidence other than just like what she said and what he said. And now he's going to prison. And so like, that was very much how it was framed, and how it was kind of set up in what he said. But as I read through the case, I feel like there's a lot more nuance than that. And it kind of made me feel a little bit more safe, to be honest. But essentially, these two people met like a year earlier, roughly, or something like that. In one of his videos, he was just doing like a college party thing. Then they matched on Tinder. He recognized her. He did the smart thing. He DM'd her on Instagram. Okay. I went through his Instagram game. Okay. It was pretty decent. I think you'd like his text game. He set up a meet where he basically said, let's go for a hike and drinks. Now it was really flirtatious. Like he said, wear a skirt. She's like, why? He's like, I like that. Be a good girl. So it was kind of like sexy and flirty. Then she rocks up and by the way, are you happy with me just going through the story?
Yeah, for sure. I'll jump in if I think there's anything. Yeah.
Perfect. So she messages a friend as she's like in the car being like, hey, I don't know if I should go in. I don't know if this is some type of prank. So she's worried that maybe, he's a prank guy. Maybe she's getting pranked. So then the friend's like, whatever, just go in. So she messages, say, I'm here. They go inside. He shows her around the apartment for like 15 minutes. Then he goes, let's go for a hike. He drives out it's more of a walk, but drives out to the spot. And then he's like, hey, it's a bit too dark. Let's head back, which is fair. She rocked up like half an hour late to the date. She had other stuff on. So maybe he actually did plan on taking her for a hike, or it could just be let's go for a walk. Oh, it's too dark. Let's head back to mine, I guess. So she gets back. She says that she thought like there was going to be dinner or drinks. But he's like, let's go up to my room and watch Netflix. She's like, yep, cool. They go up to the room. They start making out. And he gets her on his lap, takes down her dress so her tits are out. She says that felt kind of forced. He says it wasn't. He starts like making out with her. She says he like bit my nipples and left bruises. He says I didn't. And then the nurse the next day said there was no marks, there was no bruises, so that didn't happen. Then he gets her down on her knees. She starts sucking his dick. And then he pulls out his phone to record it. She notices and says like, hey, like, I don't want to be recorded. I didn't say you could do that. he then puts his phone away. In his testimony, he said, "Oh, I deleted it and showed her," which I think is bullshit because her text messages later is like, she's so worried that there's a video. And also his defense was, she's only accusing me because she thinks there's a video. So like, if he actually deleted it, I don't know why she'd ever think that. So I think he probably just put his phone away. He also claims
one thing. I want to jump in. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go.
So that's like, I guess, the biggest discrepancy between the court records and what he says in the video. Because in the video, and again, I didn't read the court records. He says that he was just filming a consent video, which is a video where a girl just says like, "Hey, do you want to have sex with me?" "Yes, I do." But so you're saying, according to the court records, it was not just a consent video; it was like a blowjob video, correct?
Yeah. So this was the thing he said. He goes, "I was doing a consent video." And the lawyer's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, I pulled it out to get her consent and I was going to ask." And the lawyer's like, "She was already like sucking your dick. Like, hang on, did you ask for consent to pull out your phone?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Did you ever ask for consent when you had the phone open?" He's like, "No." So it seems like that's a lie. Like it really feels odd to like, dude, you were just recording her sucking your dick. And like he got accused by someone else of doing the same thing and sharing the material, and also for sexual assault. She said she was passed out. That ended up getting dropped, and the reason was that she basically withdrew it. She left the country and said, "I don't want to deal with this." So who knows if that's true or not. But like, it just sounds like he pulled out his phone to record her sucking his dick, and then later on he claimed it was a consent video. Like, I could understand if maybe after sex you're lying there naked and you pull out your phone and you want to say like, "Hey, we consented," and maybe she gets freaked out. But like, she's sucking your dick, you're holding the phone like this, and then she looks up and you don't mention any consent video. You say, "Oh, you put your phone away." And then in court and on the video, like he really tries to frame it and make it out like she was never naked, she was never sucking his dick. So it felt very disingenuous, I'd say.
I would say like this is something that probably every guy has done at some point or something similar to that. And some girls will totally let you do that and they won't give a shit. But some girls will absolutely fucking care, and it's definitely not something you should do. It's unethical, but not something that someone should go to jail over either, right? So it's it's not ethically good thing to do, and it's stupid thing to do because some girls will flip out, right? But it's also a crapshoot because coming from his perspective, he's probably done it like 10, 20 times. I'm just speculating, and there's never been an issue, so he didn't think it was going to be a problem, right? So yeah, it's like kind of one of those things where it's just like kind of like not a good procedure, not good practice to just And I agree. Like I've done this shit before, and I've kind of learned my lessons here. Like if you want to film something, always ask first. And the other thing is, I just use the girl's phone. Like if you want to film something, I'll use the girl's phone, and that way she's got it. And then later on, I can be like, "Hey, send it to me," and then she can choose to send it to me. Right? It's just an easier way to go about it. So yeah, like it's really shitty. You shouldn't go to jail for 3 years for it. I agree. But then there's more things that kind of come up here, which again, I'm still undecided to know what happened. But so then after this, she claims that, "Oh, I got up and started putting my clothes back on." He claims that she kept sucking his dick. I tend to believe him because again, in the transcripts, the lawyer said basically, "Hang on, you said the act lasted for like 5 or 10 minutes, and you said this happened like a minute or two in. What happened to the rest of the time? Like, is it possible that you kept sucking his dick after this?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's possible." Now, the judge ended up saying, like, "I don't think that's a discrepancy. I think she just didn't realize how long the time was. Like, she just forgot how long the act was." You start sucking a dick, sometimes you lose track of time, you know?
Exactly. Right? Like, it just time flies when you're enjoying yourself, I guess. So, and then basically what happens is he ends up like bending her over the bed, fingering her, and then fucking her without a condom, without asking. And now he kind of claims that she was shifting her body and like moving to create better alignment. He was claiming that she was saying, "Fuck me, daddy, fuck me with your big dick." Again, I don't believe it because she basically gave her testimony, and in cross-examination, they never brought that up. So she gave her story, and they never said like, "Hang on, didn't you say all these things?" And then in his testimony, obviously I'm just reading off a transcript, but the judge said it sounded very like flippant. It sounded like he just kind of made this up on the spot. And he also brought up as well that if this actually happened, he would have expected that they would have like cross-examined her on this and said, "Didn't you say these things?" So she kind of claims it was just in silence. And she also claims that there was maybe like a little bit more force there, like he pushed her down on the bed and things like this. And then afterwards, he basically fucks her for 3 minutes, comes on her back.
That's the heart of the issue. If he made her come, none of this would have happened.
Exactly. This is the big thing here. This is where I think what really happens, right? So he says he's embarrassed about it, tries to kind of make a joke. Also, this is the other thing. He said she said to him, please come. And I'm like, that's also not true. No girl's saying that after 3 minutes. And if she did say that, you wouldn't feel like embarrassed and weird about finishing so early. So that seemed like a lie.
The thing is, I will say that sometimes I've noticed, like, if it hurts, sometimes for a girl, like, she wants to have sex with you, but it hurts more than she expected for whatever reason. Yeah. And I've had girls like afterwards tell me, like I've had girls be like, after 2-3 minutes, like, okay, baby, come for me. And then afterwards they'll be like, yeah, it was hurting a little bit. So I was like, so that does happen. I wouldn't say it happens often. And I guess we need to see his dick to figure out how likely this is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how much damage are we causing? Yeah.
Like, okay, this size dick, how likely is it? If he's got a micro penis, definitely guilty as fuck. But if he's got like a fucking big black guy schlong, that's very plausible.
Yeah, true. Like, there's some girls that if they kind of want sex to end, and usually it's going to be like with an extended period, or if it's like hurtful, then they might say it. But like, I think that might add to the case that maybe then she didn't really want it at the time. But anyway, it just seemed like my guess here is she never said it right. He comes on her back and then she goes to the bathroom. He says she just peed. She said she was crying in there. She comes back. She's upset. He knows she's upset. He said that in testimony. I could tell she was angry and upset. And then he said, I have work in the morning. You have to go, or can you please go? Something like that. Basically kicking her out, right? And he kind of admitted that. They asked, like, did you actually have work the next day? He's like, I'm not really sure. And he kind of, I forget the exact wording, but he kind of implied, like, I just wanted her to leave. And they asked, did you want to see her again? And he's like, maybe. He's like, I'd be open to it, I think were his exact words. So it kind of seemed like in this whole date from like going to, giving the tour of the place for 15 minutes, going to the hike, coming back, the whole date was an hour and 15 minutes. So this was like really short. She drove half an hour to get there. He basically fucked her for 3 minutes, came on her back, and then kicked her out. And so the really scary part is, like, after she left, she then messaged her friend and said something along the lines of like, I'm crying in a car park. Jack just had sex with me and I didn't want it. And the friend said, did he force?
Like, there's text proof of that?
Yes, there's text. Yeah, there's text proof of that. I can pull up the exact text if you like. But then,
I was just wondering.
And then the friend said, did he force you? And so she answered, no, he didn't force me. But I didn't want it, or something. Or, fuck, maybe I should pull up the exact thing. But so anyway, she basically said, like, there was no force, but I just didn't want it. And then she sent an email to her therapist that night, which was long, and they cut out some parts of it, but basically the same thing. But then she also brought up things like, I don't know if I'm just being dramatic. I don't know if I'm just making this up in my own mind. So there was like this self-doubt, I guess, that also was there, which
it's definitely plausible that she wanted it at the moment, but then because number one, the sex wasn't that good, and number two, mainly because he kicked her out, that's not going to make a girl feel good. So then after, when she was, it was like backwards rationalization afterwards, like when she left, she wasn't feeling good. So she's like now questioning, whether she actually gave her consent. So I'm not saying that's 100% the case. I'm saying that is definitely possible, which is why I think we were talking about this in the group chat. Like, if I have sex with a girl, I will never kick her unless she does something crazy bad, which has only happened like once or twice. I will never kick her out I'll let her chill for at least half an hour, because the last thing you want is a girl not feeling good about the experience afterwards. I mean, just from a pragmatic perspective, like, you'll never see her again. But aside from that, there's also the legal perspective, which is that, could, in theory, it's not going to happen 99 out of 100 times, but it significantly increases the odds of something like this. But keep going. Sorry.
No, I completely agree with that. So she sent an email to a therapist basically saying like, I didn't want to blah blah. So then there's a lot of back and forth with the therapist, with her family. You can see some of those text messages, and obviously all the family are like, this guy's a dirtbag. You need to be able to like press charges, blah blah, and that ends up is what happened. And so I agree. I think my like summary of this is basically, I'm unsure of exactly what happened, obviously. Like, this could be a case where she actually, after the consent video, after she was filmed, she felt like, I thought this was a prank. I'm really anxious and nervous. Oh my God, he's just filmed this. And, you know, maybe that was in her head and she's just kind of sitting there the whole time thinking like, I don't want this, but didn't have the ability to say anything. And this is a 19-year-old girl with anxiety and depression. Like, that could be the case. Or it could be the case that like she kind of did want it at the time. And then, as you said, like, what she wanted was sex with someone that cared about her. And the minute she realized it was sex with someone that didn't give a fuck, just came on her back after 3 minutes and kicked her out, then it's really, and I'm not saying this is good, I'm not saying this is right, but this is what will happen, as you said, is girls will retrospectively look back and say, I wouldn't have consented to something like that. I've had this happen to friends of mine. That is like the scary thing. So like when I think about consent and I think about the law, sure, in this case, they said, hey, it looks like consent was removed at the point of the video coming out. You need to re-obtain consent. Consent was never re-obtained. Jack basically said, I could just tell by her body language. They were like, that wasn't enough. We don't believe that she was like verbal during all this. So that's why they came to the conclusion. But I kind of look at it a different way where I'm like, even if the girl is screaming, yes, please, daddy, the entire time, if after the moment you pull your dick out, she regrets it, you're in trouble. Like, that is a scary place to be. So regardless of the law, like, to protect yourself, I really think about like retrospective consent where I'm like, as you said, I'm going to text her afterwards. I'm going to sit there and lay with her. If she's angry as I'm kicking her out, I'm waiting to make sure she's okay. Like, what's on your mind? What's up? So yeah, like pulling camera out and recording without asking, like fucking her without wearing a condom or without asking if you can wear a condom, coming after 3 minutes without caring about her pleasure and then kicking her out and then not messaging her. It's just like, you're doing all the things to ask for either a real assault charge or at least like I don't want to call it like a fake one, but at least like one that comes from a place of feeling really guilty and bad about it, which isn't good either way, but I can understand why that would happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just my take is that if I had to guess, and again, we don't really know for sure. If I had to guess, it was like a celebrity she had a crush on. She wanted to fuck him, and she blew up the experience in her mind. She went over, and the experience was not what she expected. And combine that with the fact that the phone thing probably freaked her out, and also the fact that, you know, she got kind of kicked out. She was like, okay, so then afterwards she was feeling shitty about the experience, and then that led to her, you know, giving kind of some conflicting statements, and that kind of led to this whole thing happening. That's kind of my take, but again, I could be wrong. What about the argument that Jack makes that he says in this video that something about how the big thing for her was that she went to the police about the video. That's her initial thing.
Yep.
And then they told her that in order to find out if there's a video, she has to press sexual assault charges. What about that whole argument?
Yeah, there seemed to be a lot of self-doubt about whether she wanted to push anything. So she did an online report to the police like very early on. I forget when, it might have even been the next day. And basically she said like, yo, this is what happened. I'm not sure whether I want to press charges, but I 100% want to make sure that he doesn't have videos of me. And then it seemed to be the case that obviously they can't get a warrant to search his phone unless charges are brought. So the defense's defense here was basically like, this was all fabricated just to check my phone, which I don't believe. I don't think like she'd send a message to her friend that night being like, I didn't want this. Like the message just would have been like, he has video on my phone. I don't know if like how to get it or make sure he doesn't have it. That would have been the immediate thing that she sent in my mind. And then also like you could just, if you really wanted to, you could fake it, get the warrant, the phone is searched, okay, it's deleted. Now just drop the case and don't worry about it, right? So I can understand that that's like a motivating factor, but I don't see how that can be a defense where you say like this is completely fabricated and made up and that's like the only motivation. So I'm sure it was like a part of it. But
they could, because I know in America,
in
certain states, like for domestic, like the wife could be like, I don't want to press charges against my husband, and it's like doesn't matter. Like the state's still gonna get arrested. So I don't know in Canada if like at that point, once you like make the initial complaint, if at that point you can like withdraw the charges, or at that point like the state takes over. Do you know?
Yeah, you
that?
can't. Yeah, I don't believe you can like withdraw charges, but you can refuse to like testify basically. So you can say like, I don't want to be part of this case anymore, and then the prosecution is going to be like, well, we can't move this forward if we have no one to testify, then we have zero evidence. So that like it happened with the other girl where basically he got put on like a 2-year behavior bond or something after that girl basically said, I'm moving to America, I don't want to be involved in this, and they basically just dropped the charges on those. So
yeah, that's interesting. What were some of the other arguments he makes in the video? I forget. I think there
was something about the Bill C-51. There seems to be like this notion that Canada has like unique laws that were brought in to like be able to convict more sexual assault cases. I did some ChatGPT reading on this. Okay, so some of this, I don't know, may not be accurate. I'm just going off ChatGPT and my reading of it. So it seems that like this bill basically came in and it reformed a bunch of laws, got rid of old ones, and it just like modified their sexual assault kind of system or way of going about things. And then I asked it to compare it to like America. It seems very similar. I asked it to compare like the amount of cases that are brought to court and the amount of cases that are convicted. They seem very similar. And in his video, he kind of made it out that they were in like corroboration with each other and redacting a bunch of information that they couldn't use. The more I looked into this just seems really normal in a sexual assault case. So like, it's just the way that if she has a bunch of correspondence with a therapist, they basically bring that to the judge and say like, all of this stuff isn't relevant. I don't want that to be brought up in public or in the case about things I've talked about with my therapist, but this is relevant to the case. So can you redact everything else? And that is what happened. And then like the defense is able to like look at all the redactions and say, actually, like this part that was taken out here, which I don't know how you meant to do this, it's really hard, but like you could say, hey, all these text messages between her best friend of that night are redacted, for example. I think they're important. Like that will, go to a state of mind. Can we please see these? And then the judge will make a decision whether that should be unredacted. So that's like a normal thing in all sexual assault cases. Like he made it out to seem like they're taking away all this evidence that we couldn't use. It just seemed like a normal procedural thing in a sexual assault case.
I mean, this seems like a real crapshoot about who the judge is. Like, that's really what it comes down to. And, I think he made a mistake not doing a jury trial. Hindsight is 2020. But I think, I don't know about Canada, but I don't think in America the jury would convict most of the time, given this set of circumstances. Because there's reasonable doubt. Even if, like, there's just that reasonable doubt based on some details in her story and stuff like that. So I don't know if the jury in America would have convicted him, but he did. When we talked about this, and he told us that he did he had an option to do a jury trial or a trial in front of a judge, and he picked the judge. And I think when that happens, it's just kind of a crapshoot who the judge is. What about the statements? What about the claims he made that the judge basically said that there's a lot of contradictions, but there's like one thing that's not contradiction. He convicted him based off that. What about that claim?
Say that again. There's a lot of contradictions, but he
said in his video that the judge acknowledged that there's like a lot of.
Oh, yes. He basically said so the judge split this up in basically what I'd consider sexual acts. So I'm making out with someone, but then I go to fuck them in the ass. These are two different things that require different levels of consent. So that's what he basically did. He kind of split up to the kissing phase, the fingering phase, the fucking phase. It seems like that's how he kind of split it up. And so he said the kissing phase, that's fine. You both had consent. He said and that making out phase, biting on the tits. He said, I believe Jack here. I don't think there were any bruises left. The nurse said as much. And then he went to the sucking dick phase and is okay, it looked like there was consent there as well. But he's at the moment you pulled out the camera, there was misgivings by the accuser. And it seems like she removed consent at that point. So now that consent is removed, you need to actively think, okay, before I move to the next step, which was intercourse, I need to make sure I have consent. And if this girl is just silent, not saying anything, and you're just bending her over, lifting her skirt up and fucking her, then you didn't take enough steps to actually make sure this is what this girl wanted. So what Jack was basically saying is what the fuck? So she's lying in these first couple of stages, but he believes me, right? There's no bruises on the tits or some shit. So what the fuck? She can lie throughout this whole thing. And then all of a sudden, when it comes to sex, now we believe her that she wasn't saying anything. So I get his point, but it seemed like it was a little bit exaggerated, because what the judge actually said is, I don't think there were any like strong discrepancies. Like, I don't think there was any like active like lying, as it seems from this girl. It just kind of seems like, okay, maybe she just didn't know how long exactly the sucking of the dick lasted, right? Like, okay, maybe she said it was a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. So that was kind of where the judge was coming from it at. But I can also understand how Jack feels about that. It just felt a bit exaggerated.
Yeah. So the update is he's now in jail for 3 years. I guess that's it, right?
Yeah, jail for 3 years, which apparently, is a. So I was curious, is that like a big or little sentence, basically? And again, my friend ChatGPT said, it's a rough guideline for like penetrative sexual assault that isn't like aggressive. So it's a long time though.
I do think like jail time is kind of crazy, given that this is like so ambiguous. It's like just there's no like hard proof in either direction. So I do think that's crazy, like to go all the way to jail time, and 3 years is like a long time. I mean, that will fuck someone up, especially Jack. He's like kind of a skinny guy. I mean, I guess how bad can Canada jails be? Like, it's not like fucking like American jail where it's like you're gonna be someone's girlfriend, if you're not like fucking 200 pounds.
Yeah,
but
it's so tough, man. Like, because I kind of the whole time I've been reading so much of this the last 3 days, and I keep putting myself in like either spot. And if I'm Jack, I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, even if I was wrong here, like I had good intentions. Well, it's hard. And then again, I go back immediately. It's good intentions. You just kick this girl after 3 minutes or something. But then like I put myself in the girl's shoes, and it's also, I mean, she did believe, it seems like, whether that's right or wrong, like she did believe that she didn't want this. At least that's what she messaged a friend afterwards. And like, she did feel used and hurt. And so it's so hard to go back and forth. And then I think like, if this is my sister, right, and you have some guy that did basically do if her story is true, that like he pushed me over, bent me over, I didn't say anything, I didn't want this. It's like, fucking send that guy to prison. And then, it's so hard to find the balance here. But 3 years does, I agree. It feels a bit much. It feels like that's potentially like life ruining. I don't know if I'm being exaggerated here. I'm just thinking for myself. If I went to prison for 3 years, man, like fuck.
Destroy my life. All my businesses would crash. You cannot get a job. I mean, you can't get a decent job, at least once you get out. I guess it also kind of brings to the philosophical question, which is, when it comes to these things, is it the girl's responsibility to be like, hey, I don't want to have sex with you? Or is it your responsibility to like confirm that she does? And I tend to lean on the side. You can make arguments for both. The argument for that it's your job is that some women, when they're sexually assaulted, they go into shock, and like that's their defense mechanism, and they're like basically incapable of saying anything. And actually, from a friend I have who got sexually assaulted, like that's what she said, is that she just like, I was like, I mean, obviously I was like sympathetic, but I was like trying to figure out the details. And she was like, I just like, as soon as but that case was very different because he started slapping her and shit. So that was like a very clear cut rapist type of shit. And unfortunately that guy got off scot-free too, because he just didn't want to deal with that. But I tend to slightly lean on the side of like, the girl needs to give some kind of a sign that she's not consenting, if she's been consenting up to that point. Like if you're going like, if there was no consent given for like anything leading up to this, then that's a different story. But if she had like consented for the makeout, consented for the blowjob, then if she's not consenting for the sex, it's like she has to give some kind of a sign. And I guess, again, Canada and I guess a lot of countries believe that that's not the case, that it's the guy's job to confirm that the consent is given throughout, which again, I don't think that's super reasonable. But it's weird. Looking through this, I kind of just agree with the laws. Like, it depends who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to a bunch of my female friends and we're talking about this, I would be like, you motherfuckers need to be more clear, okay? You telling me, oh, I don't do this on the first night, I'm not really sure. I go, you do this on the first night. You do fuck guys. Stop pretending you don't. Like, it's so confusing for a man because we get a no and we're expected to know that that's a yes, unless it is an actual no, and then we're meant to know that it's a no, otherwise we've got to print. Like, you fucked this for us. Like, being so fucking confusing is what's leading to this. If women were just clear, it'd be easy, because
I didn't pull for so fucking long because this girl kept telling me like, no, I don't think I should. And then eventually she's like, I thought you were just going to take me home. And I'm like, you said you didn't think. She's like, yeah, I didn't think. And I'm like, that's your fault. But then like, if I'm talking to guys, I kind of have a different view where it's like, well, we're fucking shaming girls every time they say yes. So of course they're going to say no. And like, as you said, like women are a little bit more passive. And as this girl mentioned, she said like she felt like she was having an out of body experience, like she didn't have control to do anything. So yeah, I kind of agree with the law here where you don't actually need a, yes, I want to have sex with you. Like as the judge kind of said in these first two stages, she was kissing back, right? So that counts, right? Like she was moving forward, that counts. And so like if this just continued without that phone coming out, then it probably would have been fine, right?
Yeah, I think if this was on the phone, none of this would have happened.
Exactly, right? So like that moment you get a loss of consent. Like if you do something in a sexual act where the girl's like, whoa, I don't want to. So like if you got to put your dick in her ass or something, she's like, whoa, what the fuck? She gets up, she puts a towel over her. She's like, I don't want that. I didn't say I wanted that. You can't just grab her and keep fucking her in the pussy now. Right? Like there's a moment of like,
what was her actual reaction when the blowjob thing happened? Like, I mean, when the camera thing happened, was she like, "Hey, no, I'm not into that"? Or was it like a whoa? Like she's like that. That's what I think it comes down to. Is what was her reaction actually?
Yeah, it sounded. Yeah, it's hard because I was just reading off transcript, but it sounded like it was a more of a like what the fuck type of moment. It sounded like a more assertive, like, "Hey, I said you couldn't do that. Like, what are you doing?" But you're right. Like I'm reading off a transcript. That's what I'm picturing. Like if it's just like she looks up and she's like, "Oh, put that away" or something. But I can't imagine that because she was so freaked out about it. She was worried about the prank before she got there. She's like 19 and she was anxious the entire time apparently. So like it probably sounded like more of a wall. I mean, she claimed she got up to put her clothes back on. Again, I don't know if that's true. He said that wasn't, but but like that moment that you have a loss of consent according to the law, like you need to reobtain it, which I think is reasonable, right? And I always thought that the law in Canada was like you need this affirmative, like yes. It's not like you can have like affirmative with your body language. Like if the girl jumps on your dick or something, or she's like riding you, then that's consent. So obviously, like the way I teach it to men is using like dirty talk and shit. Like the easiest thing to do is be like, "Are you ready for this fucking cock?" And the girl's like, "I'm not sure." You like beg for it, right? If the girl is like begging you, that's a really sexy way to just be like, "Can I please have sexual intercourse with you?" But like you can use dirty talk and shit. So I kind of agree with the law. It gets really messy, I guess, in practice, but yeah, I mean, it sounds reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, I think the lesson here for like obviously it sucks for Jack, but the lesson for like the average person watching this is, I think, twofold. Number one, don't take your phone out like during sex or blowjob or whatever. Like just get consent for the video. And I mean, because there's also, what could happen. I mean, obviously this is a better scenario, but the girl could get just completely stopped. She'd be like, "Hey, I don't want to have sex with you anymore if like you just take your phone out." So that was foolish. And I think also is just don't kick a girl out after having sex with her. Just chill with her for a while. Yeah, like she should feel neutral or good when she leaves. Like there's no reason why a girl should be leaving after sex where she doesn't feel good about it. I mean, I guess it could still happen, but like kicking her out after sex was just kind of reckless.
I think the intention matters. Like you could have someone, like I've had girls not feel good after sex, right? So I've had times where I've met a girl, we've had sex, and then I'm like, "What do you think about like other guys coming in here?" Right? She's like, "I guess I'm open to it." I'm like, "All right." And then she kind of gets lost in the moment. She ends up fucking like a few of my students or like my business partners or something. And then at the end of that, she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't want to do that. Oh my God, like I'm such a slut." Oh my, she could feel really bad about it, but then the intention matters. So like I could say like, "Look, I thought that was awesome. We all had a great time. It looked like you were having a great time too. Like, I hope this doesn't ruin anything. Like, I really want to see you again. Like, I think what we had was really nice and blah, blah." And again, like a lot of what she's feeling is that like retroactive, it's like looking back with a new lens. So just try to change that lens with your intention of like, if she's thinking I was just used, no, we really enjoyed the time with you. It was really cool. We'd all love to meet you again. And then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh yeah." And then I will even say things like, if I went to a girl's house and then she brought in her 4 housemates or something, like that'd be like the best thing in my life. Like how lucky are you right now? So I know that's a pretty extreme example. It's the only one I can kind of think of where the girl felt maybe a little bit iffy afterwards. But yeah, like don't kick her out. Like, yeah, as you said, kind of sit there and just have some aftercare for a minute.
Yeah. But yeah, crazy shit, man. So I guess based on like you're reading the what's it called, the transcripts, it's not as clear cut as I guess the narrative is. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Like when I first watched Jack's video, man, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried. I was like, holy fuck, it's that easy. But yeah, as I went through it, I was like, oh man, no, this is a lot more 50-50 than it seems. So yeah, but I mean, everyone has to be careful. Like I've had two friends, what I would consider falsely accused. I've been accused of assault by a girl, and that was like a false accusation. So yeah, I mean,
what happened? Like, let's start off with, I guess, if you don't mind sharing, what happened with your friends?
So we had an Airbnb in Melbourne, so we went to like a city for like a gaming weekend. We pulled a group of girls back to our place, and he took his girl to the room, and I was just chatting with the friends. And the friends were worried. They were like, we're worried about a friend. I'm like, look, they're fucking, right? Like, I know my friend. If they're in the room, they're fucking. They're like, we want to check on her. And I was like, well, hang on, don't just storm into the room. I'm like, I'll come with you. We'll knock and we'll just make sure they're okay. So me and the girl are both at the door. We knock and we kind of hear just ruffling. I knock again. I'm like, hey, Matt. Oh, oh my God.
It's a very common. It's a very common.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, bro, can we just like check? And so like I open the door and then the girl freaks the fuck out. And she's like, get out. Oh my God, get out. So we get out, chilling with the friends. They finish up. She now walks out and is screaming at me. Oh. What the fuck? Why did you walk in? I was like naked. You're trying to come in. And I was like, I didn't want to come in. Your friends wanted to check on you. And the friend's like, we're so sorry. And I'm like, she's screaming. She's going off. And I'm like, all right. I go, I'm sorry. You guys need to leave. The friends are like apologizing to me. And she's like trying to hit me at this point. And I'm like, you need to leave. And so at this point, I've got the door open. And she's like stopping me from shutting the door. And I'm like, get out of my house. She's like, no. So I grab her. I push her out the door, shut it. Oh. And then next minute, police rock up. So the cop is like, oh, we have a case of assault. The girl was saying that you hit her. And I was like, I'm like, this girl is fucking batshit crazy. She was fucking my mate in the room. She came out, started screaming. I told her what happened. And I was like, she was at my door and I pushed her. Like she was at my door. I put my hand on her shoulder and pushed her out of the way and shut the door. And as this is all happening, the girl comes back and he's like yelling at the police officer now. Someone else has to hold her back. She's screaming. Like, I don't know what was wrong with this girl. So the cops end up apologizing to me, threatening to arrest this girl. The friends are coming and apologizing. So we thought that was the end of it. But then obviously after that, she also accused my friend of sexual assault, which luckily her friends apparently ended up writing a letter in and basically saying that's not what happened. And then the case was dropped. But yeah, I mean, it's scary, bro. Like you gotta be real careful.
There's a crazy story. You guys got lucky that this chick was so crazy in the sense that she like got into a scruffle with a police officer. Because like when police come and they see one party that's very like logical and reasonable and one that's flipping out, they're immediately going to side with like the logical and the reasonable people, and rightfully so.
100%.
So yeah, but that's really good that her friends did that. I mean, like,
dude, so like, and that's why I really don't like drinking when I'm like pulling. And I understand people do it for like confidence, and like that's cool. But like, especially a scenario like this, you're right. It was so good that I could just be there sober and say like, hey, this is what happened. So yeah, I mean, look, if you go out for 10 years, you got enough. Something like this was going to pop up. That's why, just when it comes to that retroactive consent, it's just so important. Like even in that situation, like I regret like yelling at her and kicking her out as she was screaming at me, because I kind of didn't remember that she just had sex with my friend, right? Like I should have probably kept that in mind a bit more. But yeah, fuck, gotta be careful.
My only story that's even remotely similar about, when it comes to all this is one time I met up with this chick, right? And I met her in the lobby of my building, thank God. And she was like 30 pounds heavier than her photos. So, in those situations, I say, hey, thanks for coming, but I'm not into it. Just go upstairs, right? And
Mm.
that's happened multiple times, and it's usually not an
Mm.
issue, right? Like the girls usually have some self-respect, and they're like, oh yeah, I wasn't feeling it either. I'm like, all right, sure. But this
Yeah,
chick, she went normally, but then she started texting me saying that she's gonna go to the police, tell them that her vagina is bleeding and that I sexually assaulted her and that I raped her. And I'm like, shit. So, but fortunately, I was like, all right, I don't really have to worry about anything here because we never went upstairs. The whole thing is in the lobby, it's captured on cameras. They can see it
thank God.
clearly.
Yeah, nice.
And also, she's texting me saying that she's gonna,
Oh yeah, screenshot that shit. Done. Yeah, you could do.
But she never followed through on it. Nothing ever happened. But that was a little bit scary for a minute until I realized I was like, wait, there's cameras everywhere. She's texting me all this shit. I wound up calling the police myself and just being like, hey, just proactively, just want to say there's this crazy girl that might say I sexually assaulted her. I did, blah, blah, blah. And the guy was like, okay, all right, no worries, man. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. Dude, it's so scary. I'm curious, what do you think about, because I heard Sartain comment on this, and one of the things he said, I basically agreed with everything, but there was one thing he said, which is don't send like sexual messages to any girl. Because it might be used against you. What are your thoughts on that? Because I feel like that's something I disagree with.
It's the opposite, because if a girl sexts you back, that's ultimate proof that she's consenting. No, I don't agree with that argument at all. I mean, obviously, don't send random dick pics out of the blue when the conversation's platonic. But if you're smoothly sexualizing, I think it's either neutral or it's actually going to work in your favor. I mean, if you can go, like, you ever get into, God forbid, a situation like this, and you can show the judge, like, here's her saying how she's going to ride my dick. Here's her saying how she wants to, fucking have me come on her face, right? Like, that's pretty strong evidence.
Yeah, and because he gave an example of Tate, which I didn't hear these messages, but he said like this happened to Andrew Tate where he sent some like voice notes to a girl and then it was used against him. Do you know anything about that? I don't know.
Yeah, but it definitely wasn't. He could be referring to multiple incidents, but the voice messages weren't like sexting or sexual.
Yeah,
it was like it was something like violent or violent-ish.
Okay.
So he's exaggerating. He could be referring to a few.
No.
But it's like it's like violent.
So it wasn't like, listen, I'm gonna lay you down, slowly tease you. You put because I was like, how would they be using it? Yeah, like, and especially, I mean, I love the whole like BDSM side of things, right? And I think I teach that a lot to my students. So like, I'm also thinking like, if there were bruises left on their tits, that's going to look really bad. But if you have messages where you're like, I'm going to bend you over, use my paddle, tie you up, and the girl's like, yes, please, punish me. What are you going to do next? I think that like is going to be really helpful to be like, because it's hard to say to a judge or a jury, right? Let's be honest. She wanted the bruises on her tits, right? Like she really wanted it. Like that's a hard sell. But if you have text messages where she's like, please punish me, I want you to hurt me. It's like, well, hang on, maybe that was a part of the sexual act. So yeah, I never understand that don't send sexual messages unless, as you said, it's like unwarranted and you're sending random dick pics. But like, yeah, I think it's like better to actually have the sex going back and forth.
Yeah, I think Sartain's brain kind of like, I think he's overall a very reasonable guy, but I think his brain just glitches when it comes to Andrew Tate and Rollo. When it comes to those two people, he'll like just blindly take their side or close to that. But yeah, I mean, Tate is a very, very different situation than like the stories we told in the Jack Demo thing. I mean, I actually initially when the whole Tate thing happened, in 2021 or whatever, I was like on the side of like, this is bullshit. I doubt he did anything. But as I like saw the receipts, I was like, this motherfucker is almost certainly guilty.
I agree.
And not even just of like sexual assault. I don't even know about that, but like human trafficking, just as a definition, which is which all it requires is coercion, force, or I think fraud. And he's on tape saying on camera saying how he would lie to the girls about their taxes and keep more of the money. That's fraud. You just admitted to fraud, which means because there's sex involved, this is human trafficking. Like that's just textbook definition. I think people when they think human trafficking, they think of like, I'm gonna put you in a little box and like shit.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
but that's not what it is.
I pictured Andrew Tate like, as you said, putting him in one of those container shipping things with handcuffs and rope, and I'm like, there's no way he did that. But then, you 100%. Like you learn that just saying like, you can be my girlfriend and we'll get married and blah blah, and you're the only one. By the way, I just need you to go on camera naked and da 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 da. I mean, I think like morally, we all know that's fucking real shitty, right? Just to lie to these women or like take their passports and shit. I think morally it's really bad. But yeah, there's laws around it as well. And it's not as bad as like, yeah, exactly. And it's, it's not as bad as the shipping container image I had in my mind of what human trafficking was. But like, yeah, it is under that law and it's bad and is in my mind guilty of it. So yeah, I think I think it's hard because a lot of guys kind of see Tate and stuff as like this anti-feminist, anti-woke kind of thing. And so they pick a side. And I think it's okay to be like, yeah, there are some fucking crazy ass feminists out there that are batshit crazy. But then there are also some like crazy red pill guys that are also fucking just as equally crazy. So yeah, I don't think you need to like pick a side. You can just like have a nuanced opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point that people feel they need to pick a side. But yeah, I mean, I think Andrew Tate, the best word to describe, if I had to pick one word, is just grifter. He did, like, not a lot of people know this because it's not talked about, but he did multiple crypto rug pulls on his audience. Sure. And then he actually yelled at his audience and told them that he basically blamed it on them for getting scammed by him. He's talked about this on camera. He's bragged about it, how he used to basically take his cam girl's phone. He would be sexting with the guys, which means he was looking at dicks because guys are sending in their dicks. He would be like, give me $4,000 and I'll meet up with you as the girl. Then obviously the meetup wouldn't happen. So he would scam them and then he would gaslight them into thinking it was their fault and then try to scam them again. And he's like, this is not me speculating. He said this on camera. Yeah. So I think grifter is like the best word scammer grifter or whatever.
Yeah. Which is a shame because like I feel like having a character like him in the, I don't know, manosphere space, whatever our niche, would be nice because like he is successful. He is like fairly dominant. He's super well spoken. But yeah, you're right. It just comes from this scammy place of just saying, whatever basically works to get more views or more money. And it's like, man, it'd be so nice to just have someone of that like status, I guess, that could like take a proper stand in like a manosphere space or be like a role model. But yeah, it's unfortunately you're right. I think it's grifter scammer, however you want to describe it.
Here's a really weird thing that his brother lied to me about. So when I did my podcast with him like 3-4 years ago, I was like, it's really interesting because you have good hair, but your brother's bald, right? And he's like, oh, no, my brother has a full hairline. He just chooses to shave it bald. I was like, all right, interesting. Because he was always completely shaved bald. And then he gets out of jail and his hair is like half gone. And I'm like, I'm not knocking on him for not having hair. I'm knocking on them for lying about this really weird thing.
That is, yeah. You think he's trying to be a really good brother, but it's just a weird thing to be like, no, full head of hair. Yeah. That guy, he chooses to shave it.
Which is like never happened.
Stolen valor from the bald guys.
They're going to choose to shave themselves bald or almost no.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's someone that's losing his hair over here. I definitely wouldn't be shaving unless I had to.
Yeah. All right, let's. You want to go through a little bit of Q&A? We'll wrap up.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah.
How long do you have?
I got another like 30 minutes.
Okay, yeah, we'll wrap up by then. Does this mean Justin Mark is screwed? Honestly, I'm not really that familiar with his case. I don't know much about it. So I don't want to speak on something I don't know. From what I think I've heard is that this wasn't like a sexual thing. I mean, this wasn't sex. This was like at a party. Some girl claims that he grabbed her ass. That's all I know. That's what I've heard. I don't know anything else about the case. Do you know anything about this?
No, I don't. I do know Justin a little bit more though. As in like when it comes to Jack Denmo, it's really hard like for me to get in his state of mind. I just don't know the fucking guy. So I just went off like what I read. Justin seems like more of a genuine guy, I guess. And probably he comes off as a little bit more feminine and friendly. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to picture him like grabbing a girl or something when she didn't want it. It might be a case that it was just like mistaken. Like if it was just slapping a girl's ass, just walking past, like whatever, maybe that happened. I don't fucking know. But I'm not sure. I know he went on Game Global, I think recently. I've got that on my to-do list to have a look at because I'm curious. But I'm not sure.
Oh. Okay, here's a good question. What are the best aftercare methods when you finish?
I love just laying there. It's really hard because when I teach this, like you can go the full aftercare route. Or you could go the full retention route. And I tend to find a balance here because if you're really like aftercare, you grab her some water, you're like, that was really nice to me. How did it feel for you? Like, sure, she'll feel like, okay, this guy didn't use me, but she also might not want to meet up with you again. So I like to just lie there. The girl will usually start cuddling me. And then I have this process where I give a compliment and I'm like, I love how fucking loud you sound. It's so hot. She will say like, thank you or some shit. And I'm like, but can I be honest? And then I give some feedback and I'm like, you know, when I'm eating a pussy, you need to stay still. It's so hard as you're like moving hips around. And then I'd say like, is there anything else you'd want to change or prefer or blah, blah. In the beginning, I used to get a lot of feedback. Now girls were just like, oh, that's amazing and it's the best. And I felt really good for my ego. But like, I try to find something that I can prove. So like this starts a conversation back and forth. So at this point, if the girl was like, actually, I really didn't like this thing, or I feel bad about this thing, it tends to come up. That's usually how I run like my aftercare.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think affirmation, like you don't have to go crazy with affirmation, just like 1 or 2 statements, then cuddling, and then walking her either downstairs or to her car. I think those are just
nice.
Yeah. If you do those 3, you're going to be fine like 99.9% of the time.
And also, I think this is something you do, which is like, that was fire? Or like, what text message?
Sorry, I forgot the last thing. Yeah, you text her. That was like 2 fire emojis, like right afterwards.
Yeah.
And then and then she'll respond and she'll be like, yeah, that was, I had a lot of fun or whatever. One chick, this was really funny. This one chick I hooked up with, which was like, there's no gray area here. It was 100% consensual. But I texted her, that was fire, and she responded, good to know.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
I responded with a question mark, and she's like, well, I don't know what else to say. I was like, I had a lot of fun, Alex. And then she's like, I had a lot of fun, Alex. Her again.
Right. Some women just don't know how to conversate.
Yeah, she was a little awkward, I remember, on the date. Very hot Colombian chick, but kind of awkward.
Oh, nice.
Pulling out the phone definitely heard, but I thought I read that she went to leave and he stopped her or objected to her leaving. Not sure. I think that's her statement, right?
That's her statement. So she claimed after he pulled the phone out, she got up, and I think she even claimed she got dressed. Like she claimed she put a shirt on, which then later on she kind of contradicts, because then she says, after he came on me, I cleaned up and then put my shirt on. So like she claims she got up and either went to get dressed or did get dressed. And then she claims that he grabbed her and put her back on the bed. So I mean, I don't know what happened, but like that's what she claims. He claimed that after he deleted the thing and showed her, which I don't believe, then she kept sucking his dick. And then after that, like he put her on the bed and fingered her first and then fucked her. Yeah.
Someone says he will serve 2/3 of his sentence, and also he can work his way down to minimum security, which is more like a dorm room than a prison. His focus should be on getting a kitchen job inside. I mean, yeah, I guess that's a little better. Still fucking sucks. Like, I don't, if I had to.
D-Dog sounds like he's been to prison before. This guy sounds experienced.
Dude, I'll be honest. If I got convicted of like anything more than a year, I would probably just fucking flee the country. I would just fucking move to Russia. I cannot imagine myself surviving in prison. Like with my 4 p.m. wake up schedule, like they wake your ass up at 6 a.m. I'm like, I need 5 more hours.
Exactly, bro.
Having to fight someone to prove that I'm tough, like dealing with all the fucking issues that arise in jail, like their fucking food, which is definitely not going to be paleo. Like
man, yeah.
The one takeaway I have is that it's not always the feminist girls accusing people like I assume. That is definitely true. I've seen married white conservative women cheat and claim the guy did something, so they don't have to admit wrong. Very true. It's not just the feminists. That's 100% true.
Actually, that's another point. They never brought this up in court, I think, but if you go to Jack's like free Denmo site, he claimed that she had a boyfriend at the time. I tried to look into that. I didn't find anything on that. Like, it sounds like she had a boyfriend like earlier on when they met at like that party or some shit. And it also, she had sex with someone else that week. So when she went and saw the nurse, she said, yeah, I've had sex with someone else. But yeah, I couldn't find anything about her actually having a boyfriend. And it sounds like she was pretty open with a therapist and like there was never mention of a boyfriend. So I think maybe he was trying to like implicate this idea of, maybe she lied because she had a boyfriend. But like, that doesn't make sense either, because it wasn't like, oh, it was a party and I got drunk and he kind of sexually assaulted me. Like, there's evidence already. Like, she said I went on a date with him. She said I made out with him. So to use I had a boyfriend, that's why I'm doing it excuse doesn't really make sense. But you will find that on his website as well.
Alex, can you ask Marcus what happened to the UMP course?
Oh, Vish. Sorry, bro. I just took you off it. I didn't think. I thought you'd learn enough. You know what I mean? I thought you could go out to the world, spread your wings. Now we just moved it over to Circle. I'll reply to you some point today, and I'll get a.
Yeah, if you want to link in the chat, feel free.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Thank you.
Just saw this on YouTube. I'm watching this from the beginning. That's insane. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, if you want to get like you can watch his full hour-long video. It's long. I watched the whole thing, but like Marcus said, I guess it's like kind of like his version of the story. Doesn't mean it's like the objective version of the story. I mean, I will say it's like emotional. Like when I watched this, I felt like pissed off. I remember sending
Mm,
this to like my girlfriend, put it in like a group chat I'm part of. I put it in like the dating coach group chat. And I was like, yo,
mhm.
this is fucking wrong. And like I still think he doesn't deserve to go to jail. But when you explain the details from the transcripts, it's a lot less black and white. It's a lot more
Yeah.
kind of like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I felt the same way. To be honest, I felt less angry and I think more scared. I was like, bro, I don't want my students having these cases where like women can just be like, he did it. Like that's basically what it sounded like. I was like, holy fuck. So yeah, I felt I felt relieved actually. I think it's part of the reason I went through the whole transcript is like I want to find out, do I need to change my coaching methods here? Like, does everyone need to get like an actual like written consent thing like each time or something? But yeah, I feel a lot better after going through it.
What do you think about this? There's some people who advocate, not me, but that you should have actually like a hidden camera in your room and you record the whole thing. But my opinion is that it doesn't help you because I don't think that can be introduced as evidence because there's no consent to film her. But I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure about that. What do you think about that method?
Yeah, that's it's illegal. So you could bring that up in court, but then you'll be charged with that, I guess. I think there's other methods. I was thinking about this a little bit more lately. But I think what we kind of taught is really nice to have the messages beforehand, that message after, to actually like, I think honestly, if you're just making sure the girl had a good time, you really have very little to ever
I
fucking worry
agree.
about. Because
Exactly.
what guys need to realize is like, what motive does the girl actually have? Like, this is really difficult for her. She has to sit in the courtroom, and this girl had to sit there in front of her family and say, yes, I sucked his dick. It was for this long. Then I bent over. Like, this is not fun for the fucking girl to go through. This is like traumatic as fuck. So if the girls are just going to do it for the fun of it, right? Like she has to either really actually not like the experience or feel really used or some shit. So like if you just make sure the girl had, as Alex said, like a neutral, good time, you got nothing to worry about. But like that was something I'm thinking about. I'm like, should there be like an actual consent video afterwards where you're like, hey, actually, can you just get on voice note that like we had a good time and that was consensual? I think it's going to sound weird and feel weird in the moment. And I basically came to the conclusion that I don't think it's necessary. But maybe if you're like a celebrity and there's maybe more at stake here or more motive for the person to lie, maybe extort you, then maybe. I think for the average guy, it's not something you have to worry about.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I think that there was definitely negligence on his part, at least, right, with the video and then the kicking the girl out. Again, doesn't mean he deserves to go to jail, but I think that if you just make sure the girl has a good time, you're going to be fine. The only exception is if she's bipolar, which is why I recommend not fucking with bipolar girls. And you're going to know she's bipolar on the date. Trust me, it's not going to like sneak up on you, from what I know. But yeah, I think like the average guy doesn't need to really worry. I think some guys become too paranoid. Also, like I know in the manosphere, there's this common belief, especially in the red pill, that like, oh, most of the time, a woman is actually like making it up. But just from my personal experiences with women I'm friends with, I know, I know multiple women who've been sexually assaulted, and not a single one of them has ever gone to the police. So there's also the other side of it that a lot of
Yeah.
women. It's
Yeah.
more
That's
common than
if you
people
look
think.
at Yeah. If you look at the rates of sexual assault, so like the women that say I've been sexually assaulted compared to how many actually go to like court, it's like less than 1% or something. It's like insane. So like, and I agree. I've met so many women where the assault is basically, this happens so often. I was drunk at a party. I was like semi passed out and this guy started fingering me and fucked me or some shit. Like I hear that so fucking often. And so, yeah, like again, like similar to the sex trafficking thing, right, Alex, is like I used to think rape was this thing where a guy jumped out from a bush, like grabbed a girl, pinned her down and like fucked her or some shit. Like that's what I thought it was. And yeah, the more you kind of chat to women, the more it's like, no, I was really drunk. I didn't know what was going on. This guy that I just met at the party or didn't even know his name just started like fucking me and I told him to stop and then he didn't. And then like he left and I never did anything about it, but I feel really shitty. So like it's tough because like hearing that side of things, I'm like, yeah, we should make it easier for these girls to be able to like come forward. And like it also, yeah, it's not going to be the case that some random Sally that you met on Tinder and like had an okay time with is going to like falsely accuse you. Like, what does she have to gain from that? Like, it's a really difficult thing to go through. So, yeah, I don't think guys need to be as worried as they are, and I also think they should be very careful. So,
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. What's a good video course on cold approach? Marcus's course, right? Yours is a video course.
Yeah, video course. Yep.
Yep. So where should they go for that?
They can just go to my website, ultimatemanproject.com. The course is up there. Or, yeah, they can shoot me a message on Instagram or my email.
John Anthony had the allegation. They saw that. Yeah, I heard the story. One technical thing is that the charge, some of the charges were dropped, and he pleaded down to something else that was not sexual in nature. That whole story is weird. I don't know. I think he probably actually is mostly telling the truth about what happened, but I don't know that much about it, so I don't want to comment on it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that either.
Yeah. Yo, Marcus, may you please upload your coaching call from yesterday?
Yeah, no worries. Sorry, man. I feel like I'm doing a bunch of admin in this in this call.
You just local customers just come here and just look at.
Yeah, well, I think I'm sharing to my audience as well, so this might be on my thing. I asked my assistant to do yesterday. I'll send him another message now if it's not up. Sorry about that, bro.
Does having a makeshift CC camera in your hotel room in your apartment help fight such cases? I don't think so, because again, it can't be. Well, it depends. If it's in the hall, maybe it makes the most sense maybe to have it in the hallway, which, like, if the girl's like all over you as you're walking in, that can be as evidence. But you can't really do it like if you put it inside your apartment or inside your bedroom, especially, it can't be introduced as evidence. So you may have a video of the girl like screaming how much she wants to fuck you, but if you can't produce it as evidence, it's useless, except for like PR.
Yeah, I think, if you have it in like common areas, I don't know what the law is around that. So like your hallway of the building or something, I think might be okay and stuff like that if you get that footage. Or maybe if you like have a big sign up that you're recording, but then it's weird. And also like the thing you need to keep in mind is, even if you have video footage of the girl in the hotel room, really excited and jumping on you, and then you go up to your room, like in this case, that wouldn't have helped. The girl said, I went there intentionally. I had a great time in the beginning. I was making out with him. But it wasn't until he pulled out his phone when he was like, when I was sucking his dick, and that happened in the bedroom. So like, it helps maybe for a girl that was like, he pulled me from the club and dragged me into his room and aggressively, like those like wild accusations are my helpful. But yeah, for like a case like this, it wouldn't have helped at all. So
yeah. How do you know if she's bipolar? It's going to be obvious. It's just going to be obvious, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think borderline is probably something I'm more worried about. But like, yeah, basically if the girl just seems super erratic, if she lies a bunch, if all her friends are toxic and annoying and like blah, 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 if she brings up like her exes that are all, I mean, most girls will bring that. But like, if she's talking about like she had to take her ex to court or something, like all that shit, I'd be very, very, very careful. Any erratic behavior like that, I'd just be like extra careful. Yeah. The sex might be amazing though, so it's up to you.
Yeah. All right, cool. I think we got through every question. Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
No, that's about it. I might do a video on this actually and just talk about like how to get consent in like a sexy way. I think we covered a lot of it here, but having it out in a video for guys, because I just realized like it's something I teach every now and again. But it's things like this that pop up where I'm like, fuck, maybe we should cover this a little bit more. So maybe I'll make like a video on this. And
that's a good idea, actually. If you didn't just say that, I would have made that video.
Make the video. Yeah, do it. We can both have a.
I think you'll probably cover it pretty well. I think I'm just gonna. People ask me, just link your video. But my thoughts are that, like, again, it sucks for Jack, but I don't think people need to be paranoid. I think that you should take, precaution measures that we discussed, but I don't think you should be so paranoid where you're like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I've had sex with hundreds and hundreds of girls. I've never had a single incident except for the fucking bleeding vagina girl who I saw for 10 seconds. And, so I think don't worry, but also don't be reckless is my advice.
Awesome. Love it.
All right, guys. Yeah, for sure. It was a pleasure. All right, guys. See you later.